Good morning. It is Monday, October 4th, 2021, back here for Bed Talk 397. And today I want to talk about vulnerability. I speak about it a lot. I write about it. I record about it. My new book has an entire chapter on vulnerability. The book's called Snow Globe Leadership. So I'm constantly thinking about vulnerability. And if you know me at all, you know I'm a believer that we need more vulnerability in leadership. But I may have stumbled on to one of the challenges we have with it. I mean, let's be honest, none of us want to be vulnerable in the sense of feeling at risk or exposed, or let's face it, vulnerable. And we talk often about this phrase, we need to be more vulnerable. But if you think about it, who really wants to be more vulnerable when you think about some of the definitions of vulnerability? So I love this phrase. Instead of talking about being vulnerable, which has some negative connotations, why don't we instead talk about and think about and intend about practicing vulnerability? Practicing vulnerability, which means engaging in leadership in a vulnerable way, which is very different than being vulnerable. Yes, there's some degree of being vulnerable in it. And as I write in my book, we need to be vulnerable inside, be willing to take the risk, because there are risks. There's always risk. That's what leadership's about. But what matters most is how we are externally vulnerable, the ways we practice vulnerability to turn the concept of vulnerability into day-to-day interactions and choices. There's a lot more we could say about vulnerability, but for today, I want you to start shifting your focus and your thinking around vulnerability from being vulnerable, which some of us definitely want to avoid, to practicing vulnerability. That's it for today. Keep taking care of yourself and everyone around you. By all means, stay connected.